What are we doing differently here at Stone Ridge in our innovation? I see that in the ways that we are building our students to be collaborative, to be resilient. I know there's a lot of conversations around resilience in education, and I see that happening here on a daily basis.
Innovation is a word that I think has been claimed across many different places and times, and I think, we have to kind of construct our own meaning of it here. In the Sacred Heart context.
We did have the goals and criteria revised in 2020. We were already doing innovation work before then, but it was more explicitly stated in those in the goals and criteria in Goal 2 around creating in our students the skills for collaboration and innovation and critical thinking, and also paired with that, the rest of that criteria to create global citizens. I enjoy having those big picture conversations about what is our mission and how does it make our program different. And when we think about how we're going to grow a program, and starting with the goals and criteria, starting with our Sacred Heart mission and charism, and then growing it from that, it gives me a lot of hope about our program, that we are grounding it in hope, because I think hope is really one of the most fundamental gifts we can give our students right now.
I regularly see that the Sacred Heart stance on innovation is our stance on innovation, because the students are growing out of a very strong foundation of that Sacred Heart tradition. So when we talk about innovation, we always talk about our values. We always talk about the complexity of multiple perspectives, the complexity of bringing in many experiences. And hope is always really critical to the conversation, which I think is intrinsic to innovation in itself. But I think we're much more comfortable being explicit about it, because this idea of hope is not new to our students. It's embedded in what we do.
We see that on a daily basis. These ideas of creativity, the skills that we're building in our students, skills of creativity and collaboration and perseverance and resilience, we see those in all of our classrooms, and we see them in unique ways in our innovation program. And this has been part of Sacred Heart education for 200 years, growing in our students this sense of hope, that they can have a sense of purpose, that they become agents of change and trailblazers in their own lives. It's something we see now in new ways, with the new capabilities and new ways of thinking around design and production and change.
We know that those skills are changing, and we want our students to be prepared to bring their values, their Sacred Heart identity, and their sense of who they are into those conversations. We want them to be able to translate their orientation to hope, their values, the complexity of the human experience into those technology landscapes, so that they can be part of shaping them to be more human and to serve humanity in a stronger way.
Our students really need to have a sense of purpose in their lives, and to have an educational technology and innovation program that sees hope as a part of that program, that change is possible, and that change is possible through our own capabilities and our own collaboration, that will give our students that sense of purpose that they need to become agents of change in their own lives, whether it's, individually or on a community scale or on a global scale. We actually see it a lot in what our alumni are doing after they leave here, being agents of change in so many different spaces, being innovative in all different capacities in the world. So we see it here, but we also see the fruits of it outside of our school. There's so much new technology and new possibilities for our students that we need to help them to understand now, to help them to use it well in their daily lives now, but to build the skills that they will need to use technology in the future, technology that hasn't even been created yet.
And I will say that one of the things that I think is baked into Sacred Heart is this idea that students are powerful now, and as innovators, inventors, problem solvers, they're powerful and they're solving problems now, and they don't have to wait to graduate to do that they see themselves as designers, as contributors to their community
One of the things that I think is different about our approach is and this is true for a lot of aspects of Sacred Heart education, but is how our work around innovation, which might maybe lie in goal 2, is how it connects with all of our other goals and making sure that it does so, right? So we're looking at innovation through the context of social awareness that impels to action. We're looking at innovation in how it brings together communities. What are the capabilities of innovation to grow our collaboration with one another, to grow a sense of community? How can we work together? One of my favorite things is the conversation, and this is something that I think will grow as we explore that connection between goal 2, between innovation and goal 1, and some of the conversations we've been having about faith and goal 1. So we're already diving into some of those conversations of the link between faith and innovation, and that's something I don't think happens everywhere.
One of the things that we are building out of our social action program and out of our general education in general and applying here in this innovation context is the idea that students are powerful now, that we don't have to wait for them to graduate to be innovators, that the things that they create, their designs, their inventions, those things are powerful and timely and can help people right now.
You know, how important it is for our students to develop a sense of purpose in their lives. And when they can see that application and then celebrate that application is, I think, when our students can really be able to understand themselves as innovators.
But the other piece of it is the pursuit of voice, right? And the pursuit of student agency and empowerment. And I think that these spaces and these types of programs where we really are teaching students, how do you cultivate a message, right? How do you build an object that has something to say? And how do you do that in the service of your community or in the service of your values? That is a really powerful thing to do in girls' education in particular. It's pretty uncommon for girls K through 12 to be put at the center of innovation conversations, to be put at the center of STEM education in general. And that's something that we have done here historically, and we continue to do that here with innovation, to put girls and their voices, their empowered voices at the center of those conversations and really teach them how to use those voices in these spaces, in these conversations about technology and engineering and innovation and shaping the future and making change. That is unique. We are uniquely enabled to do that because this is a girls' school. There's been some interesting research in what the future of work is going to look like, you know, in the next 20 or 30 years. And one of the things that we sort of already know is that it's going to be very different. And the skills that will support students in the landscape of work in the future are going to be shaped around the way that technology has changed what work looks like, and also the pace of change within that work is going to be much faster, and the skills that allow you to be adaptive are going to be more valuable. So things like resilience, the ability to learn in a self-directed way, and the ability to pivot, all of those things are going to be really important skills in the future as the world is changing. And increasingly, we also see that technology is shaping the landscape of not only what we do, but also what we can do, right? So our work in the future is going to be shaped by the technology and its changes that happen between then and now. I think each day we have students who are working through the practices of innovation, designing things, creating things. Some of those things are multimedia products, some of them are digital fabrications, some of them are built objects, some of them are hands-on maker representations of their thinking. And I see that across all three divisions. I see creativity and innovation in our computer science classes, in our engineering classes, building things, creating, constructing. Like really project-based classes where students deep dive into creating technical artifacts or mechanical artifacts that really push them into the details of creating systems that are functional. And so I see innovation across the board. And in each of those instances, we don't leave behind what makes our stance a Sacred Heart stance, which is an ethic of caring right at the center of it all, that practice of collaboration, of empathy and perspective taking, and really wrestling with the ethical challenges around innovation, whether those things are accessibility and inclusion, or the system's participation in larger systems that may have unknown impacts.
I see so many of these things playing out with our students in the project approach. We've grown in our students the ability to ask good questions, because I think innovation grows, from innovation grows that sense, or in order to innovate, we need to be able to ask good questions. I see our girls coming to an understanding of what it means to fail and to respond to that failure, to sometimes celebrate that failure as a way to grow, and to have our students understand that is a gift to them now, so that the first time they fail is not when they leave here.
One of the things that the upper schools have done that I think is really powerful in the engineering and innovation space is really sort of enculturate our students to tell the stories of failure and to tell them as stories of learning. So to not sort of try to hide the ways that we fail, but to share them in the interest of learning it together as a community. One of the things I think that we do really well here, because we're a Sacred Heart school, is leaning into the complexity of technology and innovation. So we don't try to leave the ethics of it behind. We understand that it's messy and complex and contradictory, and it's sort of already baked into the Sacred Heart charism that we take both of those things together, right? That we understand the world as both like blessed and broken, and we understand technology as something that is both a gift, a gift to us with many possibilities for the common good and for justice. And we also understand that it is imperfect, and that it causes problems, and that it can produce injustice, and it can produce harm. And so we sort of embrace both of those things, which for our students is not hard, although it is generally sort of a hard thing to do. But they're sort of used to that idea of complexity, the idea of many perspectives sort of colliding, the idea of dilemmas, nuances, and ambiguity, and how we navigate them together, and still sort of be doggedly hopeful about the potential for the future, and still be oriented towards making that future better and putting their fingerprint on the world.